hit record. You doing okay?
I'm doing fantastic.
Sweet. You've been out on the phone and on Zoom all day doing interviews?
You're my fifth one today. You're my last one.
Okay.
And yeah, long day today. Woke up early, went surfing, interviews. Got to go help out the family with some family business shit, and then off to see Lacuna Coil and the Birthday Massacre tonight. Long day.
That's nice. That'll be a good show, though.
Yeah.
I think Edge of Paradise is opening for them, right?
You know what? I'm not sure who the opening bands are, but
Pretty sure I saw Edge of Paradise, and that's a good show.
Yeah, I'm obviously very close with some of the older members of Lacuna Coil, right. And I've actually been very close with the Birthday Massacre for many years. They're one of my favorite bands.
Nice. Surfing, huh? I've always wanted to try surfing, but at this stage of the game, I'd break something that would never heal. I imagine you've been doing it since you were a kid?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up, the beach is about 10 minutes away from me.
Mm-hmm.
And I started surfing, I want to say, when I was probably about 12 or 13. I stopped surfing for about 10 years when I moved to Santa Barbara. So from about 1999 until about 2009, I just completely stopped, which I can't believe I did.
Right.
As I was focusing too much on going out and partying with friends and hanging out with the guys that we would all be in DevilDriver together and just doing what 20-year-olds do.
Sure. I imagine, though, that's like something, I see people like Kirk Hammett that surf and Randy from Lamb of God or whatever, and I see that's like something that just gets in your system, right? And once you get the bug, you get the bug.
100%. I remember the first time. There's a difference between like taking a wave and standing up on it, when it's crumbling into whitewash. But that first time when you stand up a wave and actually
do it,
drop down the face of the wave, and if it's a decent sized wave, there's something that just clicks in your brain, and you're just like, I want more of that.
So I'm not here to talk about surfing, but in your line of work, you get around the world. Are you able to take advantage and surf like in various locations?
Unfortunately, no. I've spent a lot of time surfing in Australia. I've gone to El Salvador a few times. I've probably surfed in like 3 or 4 different cities in Australia. The only time that I've ever surfed on tour was actually at a wave pool in Austin, Texas. And there was one day we were on tour with Superjoint, and surfing wave pools is just too damn expensive. And I wanted to do it once. The place in Austin is not that great of a wave. There's better ones I think there's a better one in Waco. Obviously, Kelly Slater's wave that is, if you want to surf that wave, I mean, you got to be rich. I mean,
really?
I think to rent that place out for a day is like $50,000 or something.
Oh, wait, really?
That. Yeah. So usually people will get a group of people to pitch in.
Just like a big wave pool?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, going out and just doing it the old school way is a lot more affordable.
Right.
But I usually don't get time to surf on tours, unfortunately. I've stayed behind, like we've gone to Australia, and then I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna make sure you book my ticket like 10 days after the tour is done, so I can go hang out with my friends and go surfing for a while, and then I'll come home later.
Nice.
And then I don't have to pay for a plane ticket.
Right. That works out too. So I'm sorry, I know I got off on a tangent, but it's something I've always been interested in. But my fat ass at this age is not going to try it, so I'll just have to live vicariously through everyone else. I'll break something that won't be able to be repaired at this point.
Well, that's the joy of surfing, is when you fall, you hit water. That's why I don't skateboard or snowboard anymore, is because I'm too worried about breaking my hands.
Right. Oh, yeah, and then there goes your career.
Yeah, well, yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Or at least temporarily.
Right. Anyway, Dealing with Demons Volume 2. Let's just jump right into that. I've heard the couple singles or a single off it, Relationship is Broken. Is that the title?
Yes.
And that is considerably heavier, I think, than the Dealing with Demons Volume 1. Was it something you guys set out to do? to make it heavier? And also, before you even answer that, were these written at the same time and then just divided up? Was it like one big collection of songs, or did you write separately for volume 2?
Everything was recorded at the same time. I don't see volume 1 and 2 as two separate records. It's volume 1 and 2 is one record. We just releasing 19 or 20 songs all at once, I think, is a little bit too much for people to absorb. So everything was done at once. I believe the first track listing I saw was when Neil Tiemann sent me his idea of how things should go from one record to the other. I agreed with him. I think we sent that to Dez, and it didn't remain the same, but the record label and Dez switched things around a little bit for the final product. But I think people are perceiving volume 2 as being a little heavier because we have songs like Mantra, Bloodbath, and volume 2 does not have a song like Wishing on it. So I am kind of glad that people are perceiving it as a little heavier because then we've kind of built things up for our listeners. But we didn't. I don't think that was a conscious effort to be like, okay, we need to make volume 2 heavier. It was just Neil picking and choosing. I don't know where his frame of mind was. I was kind of overworking on that record because doing 20 songs is just brutal.
Right.
We broke our producer. He's like, I'm glad I did a double record, but he produced and mixed both volumes, and mixing 20 songs is just a lot of work. I mean, you already get through 10 songs, and the mentality that he must have gone through at that point, being like, I'm only halfway done.
And my brain is mush. Right.
Yeah, he did tell me that. It's like, I don't think I'll ever do a double record ever again. Like, I'm glad I did it, but I don't want to do it either. I think from now on, 12 to 13 songs is enough.
Was it your intention to do a double record, or did you just get in there and have 20 songs that you couldn't part with half of them and decided to split it then?
No, we went in writing from the very beginning knowing that we were going to do a double record. It's something that Dez always talked about wanting to do. I'm not sure why doing a double record appealed to him so much, but when Neil and Austin were in the band, the three of us got along very, very well. We still do. I'm still very close with both of them. And we never argued. We never raised our voices. And we just had a lot of fun together writing. Not that I didn't have fun writing with the other guys too. That was always awesome.
Right.
But I was older. We were all older, more mature. When Berkland and Miller and Jeff on that lineup, we were younger. I don't think we really had learned how to conduct ourselves in a writing environment.
Right.
There's a little bit of, my riff is better. No, my riff is better. No, this is the good of the riff. How could you see it any other way? Whereas I think as you get older, you start to mature and start to conduct yourself in a better way when you're writing, and are more open to other people's ideas, because you start to look back and going like, dude, I've written my best stuff when I've been collaborating with other people, not writing on my own.
And in the end, you want what's best for the record too, right?
Yes. And I don't think it would have been much of a different process if Berkland was still in the band and Miller was in the band and Jeff was in the band when we decided to do a double record. I think if they were still at the band at that point, we would have been older, we would have been wiser, and I think it would have gone very smoothly. But with Neil and Austin in the band, we had gotten to that point. We had done Trust No One, we had done the Outlaws record, we had done numerous tours together, and we'd become very good friends at that point. And then came along Steve Evans, and he was just like the perfect producer to do this. Unfortunately, he moved to Jersey. I mean, it was a good thing for him, but I miss him because he lived about 30, 40 minutes away from me.
Oh, wow.
But I had never really worked with Steve. I had worked with him a little bit on Outlaws, but I recorded all the guitars and bass for that in my studio because we didn't really have the budget for a covers record that we did for album of originals.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got a little taste of Steve on that record, and then I got a big taste of Steve when we started dealing with demons,
Right, 20
and
songs, big.
I absolutely love working with Steve. He is fantastic.
So the aggressiveness of these songs, as opposed to some of your other stuff, was it written during the pandemic? Am I reading too much into it? It was not.
None of it was written during the pandemic. Everything was my parts instrumentally. I was done with the record in November of 2018.
Oh, way before.
Yeah, and then we took a break over the holidays, and Dez started working on the record vocally and was finished by February of 2019. Everything was mixed in 2019, and we were starting to gear up of when we were going to release it, and then COVID hit. And originally, we hadn't really decided how we were going to release Volume 1 and 2 before the pandemic hit. There was 3 options. We could release them both at the same time. We could release them 6 months apart, or possibly a year apart. Those were the 3 ideas that were floating around the most. And that completely got shelved when COVID hit. So then it became, well, I'm glad we recorded a double record, because we can give something to everybody now when we're on lockdown.
Right.
And we can save the second half for when we can actually get the band up and running again. And I look at it as a big blessing in disguise for the band, because writing during the pandemic, I think we could have done it, but there was a lot of things going on, with Dez getting COVID, his wife getting cancer.
Right.
He had some other bullshit going on. I had to really kind of step in and help out my family in a lot of ways with their business, and kind of put music on hold for a little bit.
Right.
But so we all had other things going on, and there was a big, will we ever be able to tour again?
Right.
Which is not a very good thing for
a touring band.
It's just not even really a good thing to be in the mindset for writing. It's just like, are we still going to be a band? Can we go out on tour again? Is the world never going to be the same? We just didn't know.
Right.
So, but we have started writing for the follow-up for Dealing with Demons, and I'm very excited about it because we got Miller back in the band now.
Nice. Was it difficult to sit on those songs for that great length of period? I mean, if you're saying 2018, so some of these have been written for 5 years, almost 6 years?
Yes. God, I probably started writing for this album in 2017, late 2017.
Yeah, so you're looking at 6-7 years.
Yeah, it wasn't, honestly, I kind of forgot about it. I was glad that we got the first half out, but I think it was probably harder for some of our fans to wait than it was for me. I'm happy it's out there, but my mentality is I've already kind of moved on, and I'm focusing on what's next.
Right. That makes sense. Put all that crap behind this for sure. What I know you guys are taking this out on the road, but you must have a ton of concerns, right, taking things out on the road now because of the economy, and I mean, bands like Anthrax are canceling tours, and everybody over in Europe. Are you guys worried about any of that, or are you just going to try and see what happens and go from there?
If the last tour we did a couple months ago with Cradle of Filth is any indication of how well things are going to go on tour for us, I'm not worried. I mean, honestly, it was one of the most fun tours we've ever done. It was Cradle of Filth, us, Black Satellite, and Oni, and there wasn't an argument. There wasn't a raised voice.
Beautiful.
Everything went completely smoothly. Our crews got along very well, and I wished it was longer.
Right.
It was a short 3-week tour, and we had never toured with Cradle of before. Dez manages Cradle of Filth, so him and Danny have a very good rapport.
Oh, nice.
But I had never toured with them before, or the other bands, and so didn't really know what to expect. I'd always heard good things, and I am a Cradle of Filth fan.
Right.
But it was like the last week we all started kind of becoming friends, and then the tour's over. So I'm very much looking forward to October's, because those walls have been broken down. We're a little bit more familiar with one another. And, I mean, it was just so much fun. if the show wasn't sold out, it was damn close.
Right. And I imagine the energy is probably pretty insane too at a sold out show like that, right? Because everybody was locked away for so long and couldn't get out and see their favorite bands or even do anything. So now they're out there seeing their favorite bands, especially a bill like that, with their friends, and the energy must be insane.
It was. And DevilDriver has always been a touring machine. I'm sure some people could even argue that maybe we toured too much back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it wasn't uncommon for us to be out 6 to 9 months out of the year and hit up some of the same markets, you know, with different bands.
Right.
You know,
Ever wonder what a punch from Elton John feels like?
Or how you'd cope with having turned down the chance to be in Nirvana?
Or what signal Keith Richards gives when he wants you to get the hell out of his hotel room?
Fans of Too Much Effing Perspective don't have to wonder, because they've heard these exact stories and a jillion others on our podcast. I'm Alex Hoffman, former tour manager for Radiohead.
And I'm musician and comedy writer Alan Keller. On the TMEP show, we get guests like Nancy Wilson from Heart, Jeremiah Freites from the Lumineers, and Modern Family's Julie Bowen to tell us things they may have only shared with their therapist, clergy, or a TMZ stringer.
So join us on Too Much Effing Perspective. That's EFFING Perspective. The only podcast you crank up to 11.
but taking a big long break, mostly because we didn't have a choice.
Right.
And then finally coming back, I think it made everything a bit more powerful in the long run.
Do you feel renewed and reinvigorated?
I feel so happy because I know now that I still enjoy touring.
Right.
You know, Des and I had a conversation over the phone. You know, we had become so accustomed to our home life. You know, I got engaged. He's enjoyed being with his wife and his kids. And it's nice sleeping in your own bed every day and be able to wake up and go surfing. And I just love being in my studio. I never get sick of being in here. And, you know, I'm kind of built for a pandemic.
Right.
You know, like I can still do my two favorite things. I could still go surf and I could stay at home by myself and write music.
Right.
Like I'm good. I don't go stir crazy. I always have something that I can do. But yeah, it was a little bit of a concern of ours. Like, are we going to get out on tour? And are we maybe not going to like it as much as we did before? And, you know, we got Miller coming back.
Yeah.
We got new members in the band. Every time that we've had a lineup change, it makes me sad. You know, I really miss Birkeland. I really miss Jeff. I really missed Miller. And I always have this wall up with new members.
Right. Until you get to know them.
Luckily, that wall came down very quickly. Like, I had never met Austin before. I'd never met Neil before when they joined the band, but we just clicked immediately. And, you know, I didn't know what to expect with Miller coming back. And it just gelled very quickly. You know, having Alex in the band and having Devere in the band was just... You know, I had my wall up there for a little while, but I would say about day 3 into rehearsal, I was like, dude, we got a fantastic lineup here.
That's great.
And it's just so nice to have an original member back in the band that was such an integral part of the writing process. And I mean, let's face it, Miller just has this stage presence that no one could hold a candle to. You know?
Right. And I'm sure old school fans love it, right?
Oh, they're so happy. You know, it's just right. That guy needs to be in DevilDriver. You know, he's just built for it.
So that's great. It seems like everything is hitting on all cylinders for you guys, and that's pretty wonderful.
It is. You know, I was a little worried at first on how things were going to go, but in the long run, like as soon as I got on that bus and I laid down in my bunk, every day after the show, I would get in my bunk and just be like, oh, this feels so good. And it was so stress-free. And, you know, Miller always slept in the bunk next to me. So just having him back there and looking over to my right on stage and seeing Miller over there. And, you know, I didn't know how Alex was going to be on stage. And watching him and he's just jumping off shit. And he's got this hair down to his ass and just an absolute shredder that, you know, it's nice having someone in the band that, you know, I could learn from as well.
Right.
And I was like, dude, this feels good. You know,
that's excellent.
Not that it felt bad with the other guys in the past.
No, I get it.
but I was worried that it was going to feel bad,
Right.
but it didn't. And
That's beautiful.
I think this lineup is here to stay. I really feel like Devere and Alex and Miller and me and Dez, this is going to be the final lineup until the day comes where we have to throw in the towel, which hopefully won't be anytime soon.
Right. So I had two other questions for you and I'll let you go, but you just kind of popped something else into my head. Did you ever imagine you'd still be doing this many years later? Because you've been in it for like 20, 30 years now, right?
I'm in my 19th year right now. My 19th year in the band was last month. And I've known that I've wanted to be in a band since I was 6 years old.
Right. But making that a reality and then a successful reality is two different things though, right?
I always hope for the best and expect the worst.
Right. You're like me then. Yeah, for sure.
So it's like, I always knew that, keeping a band together is a very difficult thing for a lot of people. And, a lot of great bands end up never becoming great because they just can't fucking get along.
Right.
And every band is going to have a problem. Nothing is ever going to be perfect. There's going to be arguments. You're not going to agree on everything. And back in the day, DevilDriver was fueled by alcohol. And like, God damn, we drank a lot. And, that created problems for everybody.
Right.
But, Dez is sober. And I definitely don't drink like I used to. I used to get just hammered drunk every day.
Right.
On tour. On days off, I would take a break, and when I would come home from tour, I just never really felt like drinking. But as soon as I get out on tour, I was just, where's the booze? But we're older now. I'm 42. The hangovers have gotten exponentially worse than they were when I was in my 20s. And so when you're not drinking, touring is easier. Like I'll have a few beers before I go on stage. And some days, if I got a friend that comes out or, we have a day off, I'll, get some drinking done with, the other bands and go and hang out. But It's not like I drink within reason now. I just don't feel like it anymore.
Right.
Like I don't like being hammered drunk. The few times I have gotten hammered drunk, it's just like, oops, I drank too much. Time to go home.
Right. And then the recovery process as you get older is not easy either.
Oh, that shit'll last 2-3 days now.
Yeah, that's right.
And I absolutely hate being hungover.
And then you visit yourself for 3 days. You're like, what the fuck did I do?
Yeah. And, it takes a toll on your playing. It takes a toll on your mental health and I just can't do it anymore.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I haven't seen the tour routing yet. I know you're hitting the road shortly. I haven't seen if you're coming this way because I've only seen you. I got to see you on 70,000 Tons of Metal. I don't know, couple 3-4 years ago, maybe.
I think it was probably 4 or 5 years ago at this point.
It was before the pandemic. I don't remember what it was, but I definitely saw you main stage on that one. That's the only time I've ever gotten to see you. So I'm hoping the routing comes somewhere near me here. But
where do you live?
I'm in Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, you're in Lamb of God country.
Yeah, absolutely. I see Randy all the time in town. Yep. And Municipal Waste and all those guys. Yeah.
Yeah. I got mistaken for Randy. I was in Vegas at Sick New World, and I went to go see Sisters of Mercy the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And
the Dreads.
Yeah, I think it's the Dreads. And this lady came up to me, and I don't know how it came up, but I wrote a song many, many years ago that I sold to a music library, and somehow it ended up on Cobra Kai.
The TV series?
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
And I remember watching it because I used to be, the show's pretty cheesy, but I just had to watch it because I was such a Karate Kid fan.
Yeah, so we did the same thing.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, with my fiance, and I'm like, wait a minute, that song sounds familiar. And I actually had to Shazam it because I hadn't heard the song in so long. And I was like, oh, yeah.
That's my song.
And not just mine. It was something that me, Berkland, and Jeff wrote together back in the day. But I don't know. Hey, I was talking to someone. Someone overheard me talking about it because we were talking about the show at a bar before I was waiting for the line to die down and to go inside the club. And this lady comes up to me and she's like, my son is one of the kids in Cobra Kai. And I was like, no shit. He's like, yeah, he's right out here. And then her husband was around, and her husband was all excited because he thought I was Randy from Lamb of God.
And was he disappointed afterwards?
He probably was, but yeah, she went out and introduced me to her son, and we talked about how I had a song on one of the episodes, and I guess their filming is on hold right now for that show because of the writer's strike. Yeah. So, but he was a cool kid, you know. It was pretty exciting for me to meet him, and so we talked for a little bit. Yeah, he reassured his dad that I was not Randy from Lamb of God,
right?
And went and saw Sisters of Mercy for the first time in my life. So, got to check that off my bucket list.
I heard that festival was pretty good.
It was. I'm not much of a festival person. I like playing festivals. I don't like attending them.
Really?
No. It's too long and it was too hot. I mean, I still had fun. I haven't been to a festival as a spectator since Ozfest 2000.
Oh, okay.
After that, I went to Ozfest in 99 out in San Bernardino, California. Then I went in 2000 again. And, you know, I had fun, but I realized even, you know, being 20 years old, I was like, I'm just not built for festivals.
It takes a lot out of you, but I kind of dig it. I kind of miss the, you know, the Warped and the Mayhems and all, and even the Ozfest. All those are sort of gone, and they kind of have lots of memories for me in the past, especially in the summer with the boys, you know, when they were younger. That was kind of what we did. We just went to all these festivals, and it was great.
Yeah, people love them, but definitely not for me.
Yeah,
but
fair enough.
You know, I'm very much into industrial and goth and stuff from the 90s. And, you know, I wanted to see Skinny Puppy again because I think they're throwing in the towel soon.
Right.
Cam FDM was there. You know, it's funny. My fiance was grew up not far from Bakersfield, and she had never seen Korn before.
Oh.
So we stayed and watched some of them. We watched the Deftones, and, you know, luckily our DevilDriver's tour manager was mixing 5 bands that day. So, luckily I got the special treatment, and I got to go backstage and utilize Cold Chamber's dressing room and all the festivities that happen in the back, shade, better food and stuff like that.
Couch,
but yes. And even with all of that, I was just like, yep, I got my festival fix, and I think I'm good for the remainder of time.
Nice. Well, Mike, I got nothing else. I appreciate you taking the time, man. It was good to see you again.
Yeah, you too. Good
luck with the new record, and I got to look at the routing. Hopefully I'll catch you guys here at some point.
Yeah, routing isn't out yet. I've only seen bits and pieces of it, but I would imagine we'll be releasing the routing for that tour in the next month or so.
Yeah, and I know I'm not far from Maryland either, so I could probably get up there. You'll probably end up at Silver Spring somewhere.
I know East Coast is on the list because I did see a New York City date on there, but like I said, nothing solidified. It was
no worries.
It was a tentative routing.
Easy enough. Enjoy the show tonight. Thank you for taking the time, my friend.
Yeah, no problem.
Be well. Nice talking to you.
You too.
Cheers.
Hello out there. Yes, hello out there, everyone. I'm Hal Schwartz.
And I'm Flynn McLean. Together we host None But the Brave, a podcast dedicated to the music and career of Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce and E Street Band are on tour right now for the first time in 6 years, and we're taking a detailed look at what's happening on stage in our bi-weekly episodes.
We've also been recently joined by some very exciting guests, including rock journalist Warren Zanes and Stephen Hayden, Backstreet's Magazine founder Charles Cross, and Barstool's Kirk Minahan.
If you're a diehard Springsteen fan, this is the show for you.
So please subscribe to None But the Brave on your favorite podcasting platform, and we hope to see you further on up the road.
Thank you so much. We'll be seeing you.